Showtime is here, no time to fear. Carell is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Carell is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Happy New Year's Day! It is the Carell Cast. It is the first day of 2026. Do you feel renewed? Are you excited? We're going to talk and cook a little. We're going to...
Uncensored, unfiltered, unhinged. It's the Carell Cast. Listen daily on your favorite streaming service.
All right, it is the Carell Cast. Welcome to my very first show of 2026. I know there's not many of you watching. It's New Year's Day. You should be out enjoying it or watching the Rose Parade or whatever. You know, I won't be hurt if you're not watching me today. It's fine. And it's why the show's going to be fun, but it's also, you know, we're going to do this gay week with Scott Jacobson so we can start the year hearing about gay news from all around the world. Because that's important to me. And I know I did it on Monday, but I'm doing it twice this week because I really want to start spreading the news about what's happening to gays around the globe. And I have a voice to do that, so I want to do it. Also, we're going to cook some incredible lentil pasta. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. And it's so healthy for you. And I know that today you're not worrying about calories, but starting tomorrow... I know a lot of you are planning on reducing your fat asses and, you know, trying to do a little bit watching what you eat. Again, look, resolutions are bad because we fail at them, okay? And then we beat ourselves up. But that doesn't mean I don't want you to try to make some positive changes in 2026, okay? I want to make some positive changes. I want to lose weight. I do. I know that you're not supposed to on the first day of the year. Put that on yourself. But I do. I wanted to lose weight last month. So it's not like it's new for 2026, the whole losing weight thing. I've been wanting to lose weight. I want to do more with the show. I want to expand it. And, you know, these last 2 weeks over the holidays, the shows have been great. We've had guests doing this gay week. We've had cooking segments. We had that wonderful ALS show, which maybe you liked, maybe you didn't. But I really, really liked hearing from those people and bringing something outside of the world of politics to you. So, you know, it is New Year's Day. Did you go out last night? Did you party? Did you have fun? Did you stay home? Have friends over? Go to bed early? What'd you do? Tell me down in the comments. I did go to the pub. I did. I made it to the pub. And I had a grand and glorious time, and I was home by 4:45. Before it got dark. I was like, Ember, because she went to the pub, I was like, Ember, we are going to be home before it's 4:45, before dark, safely in our, behind our gates. I'm behind gates. Oh, honey, I have security. Oh, yeah, you can't just walk into my house or, no, there's gates. And so I was like, we're going to be behind the gates before dark. And we were. It's great. It was fun. You know what? Because I came home after that and I watched a great movie. Hedda, Hedda. You all should see it. Really good. I watched a great movie. And then, had a couple shots of Bailey's in some hot cocoa and went to bed at my normal time, 10 o'clock. There were fireworks at 10. The people were already firing them off, assholes. Ember just hates them so much. I hate fireworks so much. Why do we feel that we have to start the new year literally with a bang? I mean, they emulate bombs and war, but drone shows are really taking over. They really are. I did not get a chance to watch the Rose Parade this morning. I was at the park. While you guys were watching the Rose Parade, because yes, I exercised. Yes, I'm jogging up the hill this morning. Yep, same as always. So I didn't get to watch the Rose Parade. I'll watch it later. I think it'll be on Peacock or something. But I'll watch it later because but did you hear San Francisco's float in the Rose Parade has no LGBTQ presence. Did you hear that? Another Happy New Year. Pick a finger. All right. When we come back, I know that a lot of you are trying to eat better. And so I made some lentil pasta. And I make my pasta from scratch. If you don't, you really should. Buy yourself a pasta maker. They're cheap. You can get one for under $100. And it just, fresh pasta is so much better. It cooks so much faster. It cooks in 3 minutes. And it just tastes better. And you can make it with stock, or you can put things like pumpkin or spinach in it. And I don't mean in the pasta. I mean, you can make the pasta out of those things. Very cool. So come to my kitchen when we come back. And later in the show, we'll do This Gay Week with Scott Jacobson. Welcome to the first show. Welcome. I love you. I do love you, actually. I do.
If you're not visiting reallycorrell.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes, at reallycorrell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Corel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Corel is the one that you need to know.
You know, one of the most important things in life is health. It is. And so my show in 2026, I pledge this. We're going to be doing more health topics, including cooking and exercise. I might even lead you in a yoga class one day. Would you like that? Would you all like to do yoga with me? Because we could do a 30-minute yoga class. You know, we really could. And just do yoga. So I really want to inspire you to become more plant-based. Even if you won't commit to being a full vegan, I'd very much like to get you to be more plant-based. Okay? Because, again, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, it is the only way we are going to save the environment. The only way that we're going to save planet Earth is if we all go more plant-based. And so I'm going to get more preachy about that in 2026 and get you in the kitchen more. I don't care if I lose viewers. I don't care if Stephanie Miller doesn't cook on her show. I don't care that David Pakman doesn't cook on his show, or that Don Lemon. That's their gig. That's them. That's who they are. I have never been a traditional talk show host. We're going to travel more in 2026. And yes, I'm going to come and see you in San Francisco at the Hotel Nico, I think in March, and other cities. If you want me in your city, I'm going to come. Amber and I are going to come. Hopefully, she's 10 now, so I need her to make it a few more years. I'll be so devastated. Oh, I don't want to think about that on New Year's Day. So I hope you're having a fun New Year's Day with family and friends and starting some good habits. That's what I want you to do. So why don't we start by cooking some fresh lentil pasta filled with protein. Just filled with protein. And so good. I ate the fuck out of it. And I had enough. Oh, I had enough for days. Oh my God, it was so good. The sauce, I just wanted to slap somebody. How did I make it? I made it just like this.
Now it's showtime.
Hello there, my little pups. How are you? Welcome to Corell's Kitchen. What am I doing today, you might ask? Well, I'm making vegan spaghetti bolognese with lentils and tofu to pump up the protein, So over here, I've got my handy Phillips pasta maker, which you just saw, and I have made some pasta. There we go. I need 8 ounces of pasta. Now remember, dried pasta, 1 serving is 2 ounces, okay? But with fresh pasta, 1 serving is 4 ounces. Also remember, it takes much less time to cook fresh pasta than dried pasta. And so far, we've got right here some mushrooms, we got some carrots, we got some onions. We're going to get some red wine, roasted tomatoes. Here we go. Here it is right here. See? We're going to get some red wine, roasted tomatoes, tomato paste, Italian seasoning, bay leaf, red wine vinegar, then the pasta, some tofu that we're going to fry up, and a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. There's the instructions right there. This recipe is from me, Forks Over Knives, and Chat GPT. I had it adjust for protein and calories. I'm staying under 1,800 calories a day. So we're going to put all that in the pan. We're going to cook it up, cook it up, cook it up. Then we're going to cook our pasta and then combine it. Come on with me and let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Let's do our pasta right. Here's a pro tip, baby, other than I need a new Calphalon pan. Put some oil around there. Why? Why are you going to put oil around there? So you don't boil over. Don't be boiling over in your own kitchen, okay? So put the oil. What I do is I use the spray, and I just spray right around it. And then I just rub. There we go. Focus, you damn camera. Focus. There we go. It's ready to go. You're going to need some of that pasta water for your sauce, too. Oh, and don't forget the lentils. They up in there, honey. They've been resting now for 25 minutes, so I should be able to open this. There we go. There's the lentils. That is a half a cup of lentils right there, which cooks up to more than a full cup, actually. And in the pressure cooker, I put half a cup of lentils, a cup and a half of water, and let it go for 8 minutes. And then 10-minute pressure release. Bam, there you are. Lentils, baby. So the Fresh Pasta Maker makes just about a little over 8 ounces of pasta. That is 2 servings right there. 2 servings. 4 ounces per serving. So you got your 2 servings right there. So Merry Christmas, baby. Yes, it's the holidays and I'm in the kitchen. You got to eat during the holidays, don't you? What are you looking at? Well, if you're like me, you like to buy the whole garlic already peeled, but it goes bad quickly. Guess what? You can freeze it, baby. So I freeze it up in there. And that way, when I need 3 cloves of garlic, there they are, and they de-thaw instantly. And it stays fresh forever. So buy the big tub at Costco. Just freeze it. Okay, that is all. Look at that. It is all cooked down. Pasta water is almost ready. We got that going on. We are now going to add the red wine. It says a quarter. Oh, we're now going to add the red wine. It says cook a quarter cup. I say put as much as you want. Then we're going to add the tomatoes, lentils, tomato paste, Italian seasoning, and bay leaf and simmer. Sounds fun, huh? Here goes the wine. Yeah, that's about a quarter cup. Or not. Who cares? It's your kitchen. Besides, you know it's a myth that the alcohol cooks out. It would take like an hour and a half for the alcohol to cook all out. So you are going to get a little alcohol. So if you are alcohol adverse, don't use the wine. But it'll deglaze your pan and look at that. Oh. Doesn't that look yummy? Simmer that for a few minutes and then add in the rest of the... You want the wine to evaporate for the most part. And then add in the lentils and the tomatoes and the Italian seasoning and the bay leaf, and then we'll simmer. All right, it's almost evaporated. So here's a tip. Never use wine that you would not also drink, okay? So let's add the tomatoes. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And the tomato paste. And then the seasoning. There's the seasoning. There's that. And we're going to let that simmer. Let that simmer and simmer. Let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, now it's time to cook the pasta for about 4 to 6 minutes. Oh, we need salt. Salt! How could I forget salt? Salt, baby. Salt in there. Let that dissolve. And a tablespoon of nutritional yeast is going to go in there, in the sauce. Come on, focus, you camera, you. Because everything's better with nutritional yeast, puts that in there. This is only going to cook for 4 minutes because it's fresh pasta. And then put at least half a cup of pasta water in your sauce, maybe even a cup. Oh, and the lentils. Let's not forget the lentils. We gotta put them in. Gotta put them in. In go the lentils. The tofu is frying in the air fryer. It'll go in the sauce last. Okie dokie, the tofu is in there. Don't forget, do not be ghetto and leave your bay leaf in there. Take it out. The tofu is in there. Everything's in there now. The red wine vinegar is in there. We've got it all in there. The pasta is not boiling over because I put the grease up there. But it's almost done. It started 3 minutes ago. I let it go for 4 minutes, and then it's done. I can taste it now and see. Have a little piece here. Let's get a little piece of the pasta, honey. My fancy colander from the Pampered Chef. Oh, yes, I went to one of those Pampered Chef parties. I sure did. Okay, let's taste that to see if it's al dente. Al dente, to the tooth. Delicious. My homemade pasta is so good. I made it with stock, by the way. All right, let's stir up the sauce. Where's my spoon? Look at that goodness. That's so good. Oh my God. All right. We're about to drain the pasta, and this is 2 servings. So if you're alone, cut it in half. Okay. Take out the bay leaf. All right. Oops, sorry about that. I have weighed up the pasta. This is 50% of it. Oh, one got away. This is half of it. It cooked up to about 11 ounces. And so we 6.5 and 6.5, or 5.5 and 5.5. And then just take half of that sauce because it's for 2 people. Take half of that and put it on top of there. And bon appetito, honey. Look at that. Isn't that something? Oh. Lentil and tofu goodness and tomatoes and carrots and onions and deliciousness. The rest is here. I coat plastic containers with tinfoil when I'm putting something hot into them because I don't know why. BPA, I don't know. I just do it. You can do it. You cannot. It's up to you. But I do it. All right. It's time to eat all this. I'm hungry. Ember's hungry. Aren't you hungry, little girl? She hungry. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Okay. I was going to make iced tea, but I forgot. So, well. Let's taste some of this. Oh. Well, that's marvelous. And packed with protein. You get a little bit of the lentils. Oh. Okay, I gotta go eat. Bye. All right. Kitchen destruction. Well, I cut it off just too soon. It was the kitchen scale of, disaster or not. And it was a mild disaster, but not that bad. You know what? I have such fun in the kitchen. I either need to start another show and do a cooking show and this show, or I'm going to need you all to indulge me on this show and just let me cook a couple times a week. I love it so much. And politics is food, and food is politics. Look what's happening right now with prices at the grocery store, affordability. That is directly at the White House. It's people are turning on Trump because of food and food prices. So on this New Year's Day, I just want to say that, you know what? I want to get back to basics about what's important. And feeding yourself delicious food is important. And that pasta, bitches, I'm going to tell you right now, I ought to smack someone if they tried to take that from me. It was so good. And so simple, really. I mean, I didn't, what was it, like 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes in the kitchen, and that was it. And did you see the pasta that my pasta maker made? Used 00 flour, by the way. 00 flour. 00 for pasta. It's all in how it's milled and the fineness of it and all of that. But you want to make sure you have the right flour for pasta. Well, I hope you're having a fun New Year's Day. You could cook pasta if you wanted to. Do you guys do a big New Year's feast? I don't. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then that's it. I don't really, my parents used to take us out on New Year's Eve. Swear to God, my parents, God rest their souls, my mother loved to go out to the VFW on New Year's Eve, the Veterans of Foreign War Club. She loved it, or the American Legion. They loved to go to those two places. And they would drink and drive home. Because as soon as they got home, around 1 or 1:30, they always took my sister and I out for breakfast. Always. At like 1 o'clock in the morning. We'd go to Denny's or somewhere, and they'd be happy and drunk. We lived, no car wrecks. I don't recommend it. We should have taken an Uber, but there weren't any at the time. And the cars, it was in the 60s and 70s, were built like tanks. And so I do a big breakfast. I've already had it on New Year's Day to get things rolling. But I don't really do like a New Year's lunch or New Year's dinner. I like to go out and eat on New Year's Day. What about you? Do you have a New Year's Day tradition? Put it down below. All right, later on in the show, we're going to check in with Scott Jacobson in Canada for this game. He still has his tree up, by the way. Mine has been gone since December 25th. Mine has been gone. Bye. Oh, Lord.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Okay, I could hear you all screaming in the chat room and, just in your house or in your car, black-eyed peas! And you don't mean with Fergie. I probably should have cooked those instead of the lentil pasta for today's show. Because, yes, you're supposed to eat 366 black-eyed peas. One for every day of the year plus one for good measure. I know people that actually count them. But you're supposed to make black-eyed peas for New Year's Day. Now, I don't know where that tradition... Let's ask ChatGPT. I know it's a Southern tradition, but I don't know where that Southern tradition came from. Like, why on New Year's Day did they eat, black-eyed peas? Let me see. Let's ask. Why black-eyed peas on New Year's Day? FYI, black-eyed peas have a history in the South. And the history is that during the Civil War, the troops from the North, they burned all the crops as they rode through the South. So they tried to starve those people out. But they didn't burn the black-eyed peas. And I don't mean will.i.am. Because they didn't see it as food. See, to them, black-eyed peas were just to feed the cattle and the animals. They didn't think people really ate them. In New York City and Connecticut and Massachusetts and Vermont, wasn't anybody eating any black-eyed peas. Remember, this is the time where transporting things like that from the South to the North would take a long time. So they didn't eat a lot of black-eyed peas. And so when they marched into Atlanta and such, or into Georgia, whatever, where they grew the peas, they didn't burn them. It was the only crop they didn't burn. And that's why they're such a big hit in the South. Maybe that's why they eat them on New Year's Day. Let's check. Black-eyed peas are eaten on New Year's Day for luck and prosperity in the South, but the tradition has older roots. Black-eyed peas swell when cooked, symbolizing growth and abundance in the coming year because they fatten up. They're often paired with collard greens, which symbolizes money. Greens, baby. Cornbread, which is gold. Wow. And pork. Ugh. Ick. For progress, because pigs root forward, not backwards. How about that? We can skip the pork. Just use liquid smoke. The dish Hoppin' John, black-eyed peas and rice and pork, became a New Year's staple after the Civil War. During Sherman's march, Union troops destroyed crops but left black-eyed peas thinking they were animal food. See? I'm so smart. They helped many Southerners survive, so they became associated with resilience and good luck. Black-eyed peas originated in West Africa and were brought to America through the transatlantic slave trade. Wow. So they're not even from here. They came with slavery. Many food traditions carried spiritual symbolism tied to survival, hope, and renewal. Well, who knew all this? I didn't know all this. New Year's Day rituals are about setting intention. Eating lucky foods is a way of inviting good fortune. Some traditions say eat at least 1 pea for luck. Some say eat 365 peas for luck for every day of the year. What did I tell you? So if you eat 500, it's fine. You have a lot of good luck. You got to add hot sauce for strength. You add rice for unity. Wow. If you skip it entirely, they say you are tempting fate. How about that, child? Wow. I did not know that black-eyed peas did not come from America and that they were brought here by slaves. Another thing we owe to black people. Thank you, black people. But you'd never hear, white people acknowledge that. But even these days, if you told MAGA that black-eyed peas were here because of slavery, they'd say, no, they're American, because they act like black people aren't American. They always say white people built this nation. No, it was Chinese and black. Chinese built the railroads. Black people built everything. I was trying to think of it. They built everything. And the Irish. The Irish also built a whole lot of stuff. So that's why we eat black-eyed peas. What are some of your traditions? You just heard about mine. I will eat black-eyed peas today. I most definitely will. I'm going to have to cook. I'll have to use the pressure cooker. Cooks them in 12 minutes. If you want to make black-eyed peas, just take a cup of peas, black-eyed peas, and wash them. Put them in the pressure cooker. Put 3 cups of stock. Add some collard greens, liquid smoke, cumin, smoked paprika, and a bunch of hunks of garlic. Close it. Cook it for 12 minutes. Let it naturally steam release. And voila! I also put onions and a mirepoix. I put carrot, onion, and celery in there as well. That's called a mirepoix, by the way. In sofrito in Spain and a mirepoix in the United States. So, or French cooking, which is how we cook a lot here in the United States. So if you want to make them today, it's not too late. You have to soak them. Not if you use a pressure cooker. Isn't that the wonders of a pressure cooker? An Instapot or whatever you want to call it? You don't have to soak your beans. So how many of you, before we go to this gay week, how many of you are hesitant about 2026? We always talk about it's Happy New Year and all this good luck ahead of us. How many of you actually have some fear right now about 2026? Because we'd be crazy not to. We'd be crazy to not worry that between now and because it's the midterms. And I think he knows that there's a really good chance the Dems are going to win the midterms. And that means he's kind of like a cornered animal. You know what I mean? A feral sort of cornered animal. And I don't know what he's going to do between now and November. Will he do something that can make the elections not happen? I mean, that's unprecedented, but could he do something to stop the elections altogether? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Is he going to do horrible things between now and November to try to cram it all in case he realizes that he's not going to have as much power afterwards? So do the next 11 months hold unspeakable horrors because he's cornered? I don't know. It's a valid thought, though. It is a valid thought. All right, when we come back, Scott Jacobson, the handsome journalist from Canada, will join us and tell us all about this gay week. I'll be with him, of course, to talk about some of the biggest stories from around the globe affecting LGBTQ people on this New Year's Day.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carell Cast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Carell is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Carell is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
All right, is there any good gay news out there? Me and Scott are going to try to search for some and see if maybe it's not all doom and gloom in this gay week with me and Scott Jacobson coming up next. So don't go anywhere.
Uncensored, unfiltered, unhinged. It's the Carell Cast. Listen daily on your favorite streaming service.
All right, Scott Jacobson is a journalist with The Good Man Project, and he writes a column every week called This Gay Week, inspired, I think, by me, because once he interviewed me, he said, let's do it. So we do. And I've decided to tape them and have them, because of the time difference, and have them here for you. Because guess what? You need to know what's going on in the world of LGBTQ news, even if you're not gay, because it affects everything. And yes, Trump affects that. So let's have some gay news.
Do you want to do the intro or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Hello and welcome to This Gay Week with Carell and Scott Jacobson. How are you?
Apparently, we're doing...
Apparently,
we're doing the gay news.
I love that.
So what are we talking about today?
So today...
Let's get every social media trend in here, shall we?
I love it. By the way, was there another rendition of this kind of show of like an American Canadian mix up on like gay news that you've known of before?
No.
This is the first. We'll call it a first.
I've been the first in many things.
Well, congratulations once more. So Seattle World Cup organizers say Pride events will go ahead outside Egypt-Iran match. The World Cup organized in Seattle on Wednesday.
You know, I know we have to talk about these stories, but I have to tell you, as an American gay person, the only thing on my mind this week, the only thing, is, and I know you have an American person that talks about American gay news, but this has worldwide repercussions.
Okay.
Two things that are on my mind. First is the ridiculous policy of now searching social media for 5 years prior to anyone from another country coming into the United States. And if the social media profile is set to private, you have to turn it to public or they won't let you in.
Yeah.
What they are looking for is the same thing that they issued a memo to the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. And this is real. It was the cover of the LA Times yesterday. They've issued a memo that says they want to, quote, start seeking out domestic terrorists, unquote. And the way they are defining those, people with, quote, radical gender ideologies, which means you believe and support trans people, people that are anti-Christian, people that are anti-ICE, people that are anti-traditional family values. These are all dog whistle words for gay, lesbian, bi, trans. And it is frightening to me as an American podcaster that there is now an incentive. They will give other Americans rewards for dropping a dime on their neighbor. This is right out of Nazi Germany. And the people they are defining as domestic terrorists are just people that don't agree with this administration or their policies. So that's a big problem. And then the whole 5-year social media, they're looking for the same thing. Are you pro-trans? Are you pro-gay? Are you against ICE raids? Are you pro-immigrant? Are you pro-Palestine? That's another thing. And so it is very, very scary. It's going to affect tourism huge in the United States. People from your country and other countries are not going to want to come to the United States. And now today it was floated that we take DNA from people from countries that don't require a visa. So that means the Canada, the UK, all of that, the EU. This is very, very frightening. It is probably the only story that we Americans and everyone around the world should be talking about, because yet again, it is a slip into authoritarianism. But scarier than that, they are now openly telling law enforcement agencies like the FBI, the DOJ, to go after people that they deem are terrorists. And the way they're deeming them that way is if they're pro-trans, if they're pro-gay, if they're not Christian. It even says non-Christian. It's very, very frightening. It's a very scary memo that's going out. And the federal government will incentivize agencies in terms of funding. They will incentivize the agencies and prioritize the ones that are complying with the memo for federal funding first. So that gives local law enforcement another reason to comply to this memo. It is terrifying, Scott. It is scary as can be. Especially for someone like me, I pretty much check all of their boxes. And it's really scary.
Do you want to do the intro or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Hello and welcome to This Gay
If
Week
you're
with
not visiting
Carell.
reallycarell.com daily,
Apparently, we're doing.
you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes at reallycarell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Carell is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Carell is the one that you need to know.
Yes, I am still terrified by that memo, by the way. It makes me really feel like, I don't know, like, I could be hauled away, like in the movie V for Vendetta. I mean, it really does feel that way. So anyway, more gay news from around the world with me and Scott on this gay week. Every week is gay with me, is it not every week? So, what the hell.
Also, the single most persistent types of domestic terrorism in the United States, as you know, as I will know, have been right-wing extremist groups, often Christian, as a sort of an ideological warpage of it. As well as ethnic nationalist focus on white nationalism.
And this memo, as the LA Times story points out, does nothing about them. It doesn't label them as domestic terrorists. And yet they are the ones committing most of the gun violence and other violence. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the soccer and all of that. But that was something I was most afraid about. We're on This Gay Week with Scott Jacobson and Carell, me in Las Vegas, him in Canada. Here, now to your stories. I'm sorry, it's just that story really chills my blood. It really is very Nazi-esque, and I know those comparisons are made often, but this is an appropriate comparison. So that story really, and it has worldwide repercussions, because a gay person with social media that they've been active, they're not going to want to have customs and looking through 5 years of their social media, and so it has big repercussions. And then you come into the country and you may be labeled a domestic terrorist just because you're pro-trans, pro-immigrant, pro-LGBTQ, not Christian, and you don't think the traditional family is the Charlie Kirk model. Although, well, it's unconfirmed rumor. I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
Well, we can speculate that this governmental policy was designed by Pennywise to establish more fear.
And it's working.
Apparently. So the World Cup, as was noted, the match will go ahead outside of Egypt, Iran match. So World Cup organized in Seattle on Wednesday said their Pride events would go ahead as planned outside of the June match. The city between to Egypt and Iran, despite objections with sports officials in the two countries where homosexuality is criminalized, as you've noted, generally about sort of a regional issue around anything LGBTQ+. So
I think it's brave of them to continue on, with the match. How do I say this without sounding like a conservative old guy? Because I might be partially old, but I'm certainly not conservative. Sometimes gays should err on the side of caution. In other words, you have to push the boundaries for LGBTQ people. There's a great line in the movie. It's probably the best line in the movie. after The Hunt, which addresses Me Too with Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield. And yes, they had him as her love interest, and it could be her grandson. Um, but she is confronting a Me Too person, and she says, "Not everything in the world is supposed to make you comfortable." So that's a great line.
Fabulous
And
line.
so, yeah, and so gay people, if we make someone uncomfortable, that doesn't mean we should cancel a match or we should, rearrange our lives in any way. However, there comes a point where you say, but is it going to be extraordinarily dangerous for the people involved? I have never wanted to go to Egypt or many Middle Eastern countries or African countries because it is dangerous to be gay in these nations. And several of the nations involved, as you said, have outlawed homosexuality. So while I think pushing the norms and pushing society towards acceptance is great, I also think there are some times where we need to say, but what about the safety of the people involved in this? And so I just wonder how safe the players and the audience is going to be, even though it's outside of Egypt. I just wonder if this is prudent. We'll see, and I again commend them. But I mean, it's important for the gays that live there. I know that this is a big deal for them, but I've always said, if you're gay, why the hell do you live there? Well, some people have no choice. I know, I get it, I do. I'm gay and I live in America, and believe me, I'd leave if I could. So I get it, I understand it, and I think it's a step forward for sports and for gay rights. But at the same time, I just think we need to always be prudent, and tempers and conflict is at an all-time high these days. And so I just don't know if poking the gay is illegal bear is a good thing to do right now. But I'm glad someone's doing it. I just don't know that I'd attend. But I'm glad someone will.
You've noted, I mean, in several sessions that so you've noted never being entirely safe in your time in
True.
the United States, or accepted at least.
Yes. No, and safe. That includes right up until today. Absolutely. Um, it is dangerous to be gay in America now more so than ever. And it's never not been dangerous to be gay in many parts of America, no matter who was president, whether it was Obama or Clinton. There's still the South, for instance, where it is not safe to be gay. In America, if gay tourists, there are states I would tell gay people internationally to not go to. Yeah, go to New Orleans, but then don't go anywhere else in Louisiana. Don't go to Baton Rouge. Don't go, don't go other places. Go to Georgia, go to Atlanta, but don't go to Valdosta. Don't go to, and so there are, and even in Florida, yeah, Miami and Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, sure, but stay out of Pensacola, stay out of the Panhandle. So there are places in America where it's not safe to be gay, where pride festivals have been canceled even this last year because of danger and credible threats. I was just watching the Taylor Swift thing and the tears she shed over having to cancel a show because there was a credible threat from Al Qaeda or from an Islamic terrorist group. So the world isn't a safe place, but the United States certainly isn't the safest for LGBTQ people. I think Ireland is safer for LGBTQ people and parts of the EU. But then again, there are countries in the EU don't go to if you're gay. And people say, well, that defeats the purpose. You have to decide for yourself what you're going to risk. Making a point that gay people should be allowed to go everywhere is not worth dying for me. And that's because I'm old and I've lived through all of that. There was a time in my 20s or 30s, sure, I'd go shove it down anybody's throat. I learned that people actually die that way. And so now more than ever, as there is more anti-gay legislation, both in America and worldwide, than there is pro-gay, I think every gay person has to step back a little bit and say, do I really want to go there? Do I really want to go to the United States? Do I really want to go to Croatia? Or do I really want to go to Egypt at this point in our history? So I do believe, and that goes out beyond being gay. In America, there are places black people probably shouldn't go. Um, there are places that immigrants certainly right now are worried about going. And not just America, in every country. So, yes, I have never felt safe in America right up until well, yeah, I just told you there was a guy at the park with a sword and then someone got a gun. That wasn't really a gay thing, but at the same time, I mean, if he had a sword in his car and he didn't like queers, uh,
Were they filming the next Indiana Jones?
they were not. And that did come to mind. I thought, so the guy was out there swinging a sword, and my friend at the park said, yeah, and I go, you ever seen Indiana Jones? He said, yeah, I got my gun. I'm like, oh, okay, because, that takes care of it. But that's a shame. I mean, both in this country that we have the access to these weapons, but second of all, that tempers are just so high that you would go to your car and get a sword because somebody's dog came by you,
When someone told me in LA, when Americans, some get a flippant sense of road rage, they'll shoot the person that caused them the rage, or at least they're attributing it to.
We just had a case here in Las Vegas, a terrible tragedy. It's 2 lives ruined. Over in Henderson, some car passed some guy on the freeway. He didn't like the speed of the car. I don't know what he didn't like. But he drove up next to the car and shot into the vehicle. He killed a 14-year-old that was in the back seat. And when they were arresting him, he didn't know he had killed anybody. And all of a sudden, they're like, dude, you killed the 14-year-old. Well, I didn't mean to. And he's only 22. His life is over. He's gone to jail forever, or for a majority of his life. And that 14-year-old is dead. Why? Because you didn't like the way someone passed you on the freeway. Gays face this every day. Right now I was about to answer from Quoted a response for a journalist to go on GB News, Great Britain's equivalent to Fox News, that is, quote, pro-trans, because of Gavin Newsom posting that Elon Musk's transgender daughter hates him, and they want to discuss this on GB News. So they want someone that is pro-trans. And I thought, who isn't pro-trans? Why would anybody be anti-trans? Because I'm from the school of, it's none of your fucking business. So there should be like no pro or against trans. There should be, I don't have an opinion on trans because I'm not trans, and they have a right to live and exist like everybody else has a right to live and exist. So this notion that they're looking for someone pro-trans, I'm like, that implies that there's people against trans people. Why? Why would you be against someone who simply has a known medical condition, which I know people don't believe that it is, but it is, a known medical condition where their body does not match who they are? That biology made a mistake. It's like being born with 7 fingers and taking 2 of the fingers off because biology made a mistake. It's like, who would be against that? Let's be real. The same people that are anti-trans are pro-Viagra. But if God and your body said you are to be limp, who are we to intervene? So
We were talking about this before, bald creams and pills, boner pills. I mean, breast surgery. Just name any of these. And these are considered more routine and therefore socially acceptable.
Look
but
at
the other
half
ones...
of the people Trump hangs around with at Mar-a-Lago. These women have mutilated their bodies. They have mutilated. They don't even look human anymore. They have mutilated their bodies, but it's their choice. If they want to look that way, look that way. But they're going to be against trans people having transitional surgery. And yet they've transitioned from a human into a Kardashian. And never the two shall meet.
Or Matt Gaetz.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Matt's had a lot of work done. Yeah. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
What about the gay one? The one that's in the closet? Madison Cawthorn. I haven't heard much from him. I always get the gay vibe from him. Always. Like, my gaydar bleeps so loud when he's in the room, it's deafening. He's in the wheelchair.
There's an argument to be made. Just looking at the
Oh,
picture.
no, I know, I get, and there's pictures of him in drag. And it's like, okay. Because Republicans love to hate on trans people, and they love to do it while wearing a dress.
Right.
It's like the Pope.
Well, I mean,
the Pope loves
right.
to judge trans people, but he does it while wearing a Prada dress. So
Yeah, that's the
whatever.
joke about the Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Catholics, right? All right, let's
Yes, back to the
back to news.
back to the world.
We could do a whole separate series on just jokes and commentary. Okay, so Arlington upholds suspension of protections for LGBTQ people. City Council voted 5-4, so it was a very narrow margin, as narrow as you can get, to continue the temporary removal of language in its ordinance, which was initiated in September in an effort to avoid losing federal funding. So subtext appears to be fear of the federal government again out of Texas. And as you and I have noted, and many reports have noted, that the capital of the number of bills against LGBTQ friendly policies has been Texas. Not even a competition. Probably They probably take 20 or 30% of them.
Which I lived in Texas, and trust me, those cowboys are not as straight as they'd like to think. It's lonely out there on the trail.
Particularly the horse trainers in English.
Yeah,
riding.
hello. Yes, it's a little lonely out there in the stables. Come here, stable boy. But anyway.
Also.
All right, Miss Ember and I are having a moment here. We'll be back to finish up this gay week. If I don't just have a moment with Miss Ember on this New Year's Day. Oh.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
We're having a stare-off, aren't we? We're having a stare-off? Look at you. Tell him it's time to go back to this. Look at your ear pop up. Tell him it's time to go back to this gay week while we have a kiss. First of all, the language of that, oh, well, I could see it. The language of that offends me. So I'm one of these people that was actually against hate crime legislation. I'm for it now. But for the longest time, I was against it because I said, I don't need special protections. I don't care while you're beating me in the head that you're calling me a faggot. Just stop beating me in the head. And if you get caught for it, get punished for beating me in the head, not because you're beating me in the head because I'm a faggot. As far as I'm concerned, a crime is a crime, and there's no such thing as a love crime, And so this notion of hate crimes was weird to me. But when we come back, I'll tell you what in the thing you just read offended me most. Set timer, 7 minutes, 15 seconds. All right, Scott. So in what you just read to me about, they said special protections. That bothers me.
That's where you're going.
That bothers me. No gay person needs special protections. We need the same equality under the law that non-gay people have. The problem is that the laws have been written purposely to target gay people, and that's why we need special protections, because there's special laws targeting us. If there weren't special laws targeting us, we wouldn't need special protections. So how about we just have one law for everybody instead of, how about we make it illegal to fire anybody from their job because of race, gender, religious affiliation, all of that. How about we just make freedom and liberty universal? That seems like such a hard thing to do in every country around the world. They act like they've got to make special conciliations to gays. They don't. Just stop making special things against us. And then we won't need special protections from you because we're already covered. I'm an American. I'm covered by the Constitution. There's not a gay Constitution, although there should be. I could come up with a few amendments. Yes, I'm glad that they voted to keep the protections in. It's sad that they have to. and that they call them special protections. That's sad. But it's good that 5 of the 9 people at least saw things like, no, let's not pick on this group of people again. And you know, I don't need special protection. I don't need anything special. No gay person alive in any country, anywhere, needs anything special. They just want what everybody else has. It is just so bizarre to me. It's such a strange thing.
It just goes back to the standard human rights discourse of people look at human rights law and human rights stipulations. They think there's just a grab bag. There's a fundamental principle underneath all of them, which is the principle of universalism. You know, and so it's right to your point about the same law for all or one law for all.
For all for one for all. I'm a musketeer. Let's go.
We need one more guest book.
They were fucking. Oh, sorry.
What were their names again?
Oh, let's see. Well, I remember D'Artagnan because he was the gayest. I don't remember the other 3. Just D'Artagnan. Oh, Pothos or Ethos or something. Pothos, D'Artagnan. And then because there were 4 musketeers. There weren't 3. There were 4. But I forget the other 2.
Also in the news. National security expert has confirmed as you were noting in a previous session, a lavender scare. They've claimed that this is mirroring Cold War era, not just rhetoric, but policy.
Well, this goes to the story at the beginning. Yes. If they're going to get away with an FBI memo that can label people that are pro-trans, pro-gay, anti-ICE, against Christian, if they can label them domestic terrorists, they can certainly fire them from government. So, yes, in the U.S. government, all agencies right now, there's a huge lavender scare. And this does not just apply to the United States. I am talking to people all across the globe, and proud individuals who are a part of government are pulling back on their rainbow flag waving because Trump's policies are spreading through other governments. And so they realize that if they like their job in government, now is not the time to be waving that rainbow flag. So many people in governmental agencies across the globe are pulling back on being so expressive and open with their LGBTQ identity. It's not just happening here. There's a worldwide lavender scare. And it's happening because of Trumpism. We've got Putin putting gays in concentration camps. We've got African nations making laws against them. If you're in government, it is just not a good time to be open. And that's really sad. Others will say, no, now is the time more than ever. Sure, if you don't want your job.
Have you seen advocates and allies who are fair weather and who are not in this season as well?
Yes, absolutely. There was just a call of the 4 biggest gay leaders in the United States. And what they had to say was really sobering because they were on page with me about how bad it really truly is. They weren't pulling punches, and they were like, it's worse than most of you all think. And one of the things they said is that gay and lesbian rights across the globe are no longer, quote, gay and lesbian rights. In other words, gay rights now extend to housing. You know, am I being kicked out because I'm gay or trans? Healthcare. Can I access healthcare if I'm gay, bi, or trans? So all of the different aspects of life, healthcare, where you're going to live, where you're going to work, all of these areas are now being affected by anti-gay policies. So gay rights are now basically expanding to every kind of right there is. Workplace rights, the ability to live, in various places, the ability to travel and go in and out of countries freely. All of these things are now gay rights because Trump and his like across the globe have attacked gays in every single sector, in government, in travel, in social, in just society, and the churches have been attacked. So we're being attacked on so many fronts that now you can't just say being a gay activist is about gay marriage. No, it's not about gay marriage. It's about gay work, gay marriage, gay purchasing of food, gay travel. So it is now encompassing almost everything a human does.
So fabulous. Pharrell, very much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott, and your beautiful tree. And thank you all.
Broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours.
Yeah.
Listen daily
Go
to the
for a walk.
Carellcast on your favorite streaming service.